Do you need a visa to come to China? Increasingly, the answer is no. From Europe to Asia and now Latin America and the Middle East, some 47 countries will benefit from China's unilateral visa-free entry policy. It means if you are a citizen from one of these eligible countries, you can simply hop on a plane and come see China for yourself for up to 30 days at a time. For example, beginning June the 1st, for a trial period of 1 year, China will grant visa-free entry to citizens of Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Peru and Uruguay. And from June the 9th, China will extend the policy to Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait and Bahrain. This is the latest round in China's optimization of its visa-free policy, which began in December 2023. By now, as I said, some 47 countries enjoy the exemption. The maximum stay of visitors has also been doubled from 15 days to 30 days. So why the addition of Latin America and Gulf countries this time? What are the expectations from the regions and what ripple effects could this policy have on business, trade and tourism ties between the two sides? And most of all, how do you use this policy? I'm pleased to be joined from Sao Paulo early in the morning, Brazil, by THAE's Moretz, founder of THAE Consultation, which develops tailored strategies for international trade between Brazil and China, and from Beijing by Li Lun, assistant professor of economics at Peking University. Welcome to The Point and thank you very much for joining us. So let me go to THAE's Moretz first in Brazil. As I said, China just unilaterally extended its visa-free access to Latin American countries, 5 of them. The total population is some 310 million and some of the region's largest economies. Why were these Latin Americans added to the list in your understanding?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me in the show. Well, these countries, they all have strong diplomatic and economic relations with China. Brazil is the largest economy in South America and a Chinese very important business partner with a diverse economy, spanning mining, agriculture, manufacturing, services in general. Chile was the first South American country to sign a free trade agreement with China, and the other countries like Argentina, Chile, Peru, Uruguay also have maintained along the years very strong connections with China. Specifically, Peru is home to one of the most important infrastructure projects of China in South America, which is the port of Chancay, the deep water port that is expected to become a very important hub connecting Latin American markets with China. So they are all very important, it's undeniable.
So, Thais, if you are a citizen from one of these countries, let's say a Brazilian, can people really simply hop on a plane and come see China for themselves if they have a regular passport?
Yeah, basically, yes, but in reality, it doesn't work like that. We still have the airfare, high costs of the tickets and the long distance. It's also, when we arrive in China, we still have the border controls. It does not mean that there is no security. The guards will ask what you are doing in China, where you're staying, how much money you are bringing. So there are some issues you will also face. And of course, traveling also exposes the tourists to different kinds of experiences. We may have bad and stressful moments if we don't prepare very well. For instance, handling the payments, the communications, and transportation and everything. So yes, while you can simplify your experience and travel become easier, you still may face a lot of barriers.
So what is the advice you give people, although they can hop on a plane, buy a ticket, of course, hop on a plane without having already applied for a visa, but they still need to prepare themselves for what specifics?
Yes, they have to have itinerary, exactly knowing where they will stay, how they will make the payments, have some addresses in Chinese, of course, having the specific apps that you use in China. In Brazil, we are not used, for instance, with WeChat Pay, Alipay, so we may face different realities with credit cards and so on and so forth. So it's still advisable that we prepare very well other itinerary, other stay, if we have assistance with tourist guides, interpreters, and everything is still advisable to be prepared.
Of course, of course. Professor Lee, however, has the Chinese government made any specific preparations or arrangement to help people adapt to the very different realities here on the ground upon arrival, especially? For instance, payment, for instance, communication, right?
Well, we're seeing multiple measures. For example, whether you go to Zhangjiajie, a very popular travel destination for Koreans, where you're going to see lots of travel signs in Korean. There's going to be lots of Korean restaurants nearby. We're also seeing, for example, Alipay and WeChat Pay, which all supports Visa and Mastercards, which are relatively convenient to use. There are also volunteers at the airport, at the subway station, which can help you get around. And honestly speaking, I think for most major cities, people can speak English relatively well. So if you cannot find your location or destination, you can just ask anyone to get around.
Well, actually, this is not the first round of countries that are enjoying this policy. As I said, 47 countries so far, if you include the 5 Latin American countries and the 4 Middle Eastern countries that are going to benefit from this policy starting early June. And for Latin American countries, this is a trial period. But in terms of increasing understanding and exchanges, Thais, how important do you think this measure is, and is this something that for Brazilian business and for the Brazilian society and economy, this will provide benefits for them as well?
Of course, traveling exposes us to new realities, and we get in touch with different food, culture, people, and also business opportunities. Sometimes you go to China for sightseeing and you end up feeling interest in returning to study Chinese, for example. Or you are in China and you see a product in China that is not present in Latin America or in the Brazilian market in specific. You end up feeling interest in becoming a distributor. So you find a business connection, business partner. So traveling often opens up our minds to new reality. It improves friendship, mutual understanding, and gives new opportunities.
How do you look at the fact that these policies are actually unilateral, which means China does not ask for the other country to do exactly the same? China opens first and say, welcome to come to our country. Whether Chinese visitors can go to your country visa-free is not a prerequisite. Thais, how do you look at that?
Yes, actually, yes, you are right. It's unilateral. So the Chinese government is not requiring immediate reciprocity from the other countries, but it's actually a very pragmatic approach by the Chinese government and bringing more balance to the relations. For example, there are many more Chinese people living in Brazil than Brazilians in China. We have around 300,000 Chinese living here and only about 80,000 Brazilians in China. So the numbers are very different. So the government is showing some attitude towards bringing more balance in the relations. There are more Chinese investing in Brazil. President Lula just returned from China. He paid a visit to Beijing. Chinese corporations announced around $5 billion in investments in Brazil. While Brazilian ventures in China remain very small, modest numbers. So in this context, China is showing this gesture of bringing more balance, and is also very pragmatic for China. As I say, when you travel, you get exposed to new realities. And for business travelers, the Chinese factories, they will receive more visitors, so they will have a chance to sign more contracts, to produce more, and to sell more products to other countries. So it will also benefit the Chinese economy.
Professor Li Lun, in 2024 alone, visa-free entries into China from foreign countries reached 20 million. That's more than doubling the previous year's number. So what explains the success of this policy, and what's behind this policy on the mind of the Chinese government in the first place?
Yeah, so we're seeing a relatively very successful visa-free policy. We're seeing, for example, foreign visitors spending over $94 billion with a B in China in 2024. So I think behind all of that is the flexibility that this policy actually provides to foreign visitors. No matter you're coming here for a business conference, whether you're coming here for tourism, you can, the flexibility that it provides, especially now with the 30-day visa-free period, you can visit multiple cities, you can explore multiple business ventures. This all, provides the businessmen and tourists a great opportunity to explore China and for further collaboration.
Some people, some Western commentary are saying that this is China's diplomatic charm offensive. Of course, coming from a negative perspective, everything China does seem to have a dark agenda behind it. Professor Li, what's your reaction to this? What exactly is China trying to do by opening up itself unilaterally?
Yes. So, of course, China is becoming more and more attractive to foreign visitors. And in direct contrast is what the U.S. government is currently doing. For example, they're currently pausing the student visa, and also they're kind of being more protectionism. Versus what we're doing is to actually hold an open arm to foreign visitors. We're allowing more people to come to China to explore. So I think this difference in the attitudes towards foreign visitors towards other countries reflect a very different attitude towards the future. So whether it's being protectionism, prioritizing the domestic growth, or have an open embrace to develop together to have a better world shared by all humankind. So I think it reflects two different ideology or mindset, which in the future could the people around the world could see which is the better mode.
Thais, from a Latin American perspective, which local sectors are most excited about this visa-free access, and what, from your understanding, what has been the reaction so far? Do people know enough about this policy yet?
Yeah, I think in general, people, chambers of commerce, associations, they all expressed gratitude towards these policies. But the effects are yet to be seen because the policy is very new. But many factors may benefit in Latin America. We travel, for Chinese specifically, China will increase the tourism, the venues, exhibitions, hotels, restaurants. It will be a boost for them in these sectors. But I was saying business in general, manufacturing in general, may also benefit from more visitors from Latin America.
What about the other way around? Because Brazil doesn't have visa-free policy yet for Chinese visitors, right? Do you see that as an eventual reality? Probably, hopefully, that's going to happen in a year's time, so that there will be two-way benefit and two-way communication.
I hope so. I work with the consulting industry, and I advise many Chinese clients doing business in Brazil. And although it's possible to do business online, hiring the right consultant, we do sorts of incorporation, trademarks, legal contracts. But in some business deals, especially big ones, large contracts, mergers and acquisitions, investments, joint ventures, people benefit and they feel much better when they do face-to-face interactions. So I know that Chinese people want to receive reciprocity. I'm not sure the Brazilian government is ready, is prepared to offer this in short term.
Let's wait and see. Let's see how the policy actually benefit the society and the economy in Brazil, and likewise in Middle Eastern countries. I have to leave it there. Time has run out. But many thanks for Thais Moretz from Brazil and Li Lun joining us from Beijing for your discussion. Thank you so much.